Okay, hello Shona. Welcome to the President's Chat. We met a couple of month ago, at the business workshop, and I became really interested in what you do, as I don't know that many other people that use their lived experience of alcohol dependency and help others with that. And so I noticed you have a website, you help other people, and I really thought that our members could benefit from your knowledge and your experience. So that's the reason why I asked you to be part of this President's Chat. So thank you very much for agreeing to do this. And maybe we can start with me just asking you to tell a bit about yourself and what Women Living Sober is.
Okay. Well, thank you, Era, for inviting me on to the chat. And it was lovely when I met you. It was a month or more ago now, I think. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to explain what it is I do, because what Women Sober is, I'd like to think it's going to turn into quite a movement for women who are either sober curious, as we say now, that not quite sure what life would be like if they didn't have a drink every night or have too much on the weekends, and also mainly to help women overcome addiction. And that's where my lived experience comes in, because way back when I decided that, I had no option really but to seek help after pretty solid drinking of 20 or more years. And so I'd like to be able to give back to some institutions that helped me along the way. And the actual basis of it started when COVID came, and I was at home. I've been retired for a couple of years, so and then I got really, really bored because there was nothing to do. So I started a couple of programs then to help people, and only women, because I feel I can relate very well to other women who are going through this. I just think when I started it, there were too many people I'd come across who stopped drinking but don't put any strategies in place for how they were going to live their lives differently, because they know life is going to be quite different. But I use the analogy, if you just sit home and look at four walls, you'll go crazy to the point where you'll probably turn around and start drinking again.
Yeah.
So I wanted to help women get through the processes that you need, because I know that for me, the first 12 months was really hard to stay off it, but I was very determined. And I want to be able to help women to understand that there is a pathway. Like, I've been sober for 19 years now. Wow. So what I learned in the first few years has just kept rolling through the rest of my life, like to the point now where alcohol has absolutely no relevance in my life at all. And life just rolls on quite happily without that substance.
Yeah. So it's mainly aimed at women, or only women?
Only at women, yes.
Only women, yes. And at what stage
of their addiction?
Yeah.
Well, even for people who are sober curious, as I said, but for a woman who really doesn't know where to turn, you could go, as most people do, eventually go to their GP, hanging their head in shame most of the time, because it's a shameful experience to admit that you have a problem with alcohol. I think we're getting better at that as a society now, but back in 2004, when I quit, there was a big stigma around, especially if you're a woman. And
what would you have hoped your GP would have said to you?
Well, if I'd been honest with him, I guess he might have said a bit more to encourage me to stop. But again, like most of us, we just hide away that information. I did go on my own bat to a couple of psychologists throughout my last 5 years probably. But I never resonated with any of them because I just felt they didn't know what I was going through or how difficult it was for me to even talk about it, let alone to start on a pathway to get help. So I was probably discouraged somewhat by trying to find professional help, but not finding people that I resonated with to help me.
Yeah. What was the biggest difficulty for you there?
In talking about it?
Yeah.
Well, it's very confronting because it's the shame, it's the stigma, it's surely I can't be that bad that I need to I need to reach out for help, but inside myself, knowing, yes, I was that bad. I definitely needed help. I guess if I'd had someone who could talk to me about what it would be like to quit, and to know that as tough as things might be, that there was a path and I could get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is actually what you have set up now.
Yes.
You have that lived experience, so people don't have to feel ashamed talking to you because you've been there. It's walk.
I think I've been there, done that 100 times worse than a lot of other people. So, yeah, I definitely want to help. I want to show women that you don't have to be stigmatized. You don't have to. You can just get through this and hold the hand as they go.
Yeah, 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 and that most important part, the life after, the life after stopping drinking, because, like you said, it's going to look very differently. And I know that for many people suffering from addiction, that is the hardest part to go through.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what do you offer?
Okay, well, in terms of what I offer, I've got 3 programs, one of which will launch by the end of September. So initially, I like to offer a complimentary consultation. So that could be 20 minutes or so, just to see where the person is at, because I have found that, and I don't have any problem referring or saying to someone that I think you are just like me, and I just think that 2 weeks in live in rehab would most likely be the best possible thing for you, and maybe we connect after that and you can start doing my programs after that, because that's eventually what I did. I had a calamitous event, and that was the one that brought me undone, and I was exposed to all my family and I confess that there was a huge drinking problem going on, and I, through my GP then, went to Brisbane Private Hospital for 3 weeks rehab live-in. So I don't have any problem at all explaining that to people and saying, that might be your best solution. But the other starting point after a consultation is I have a 7-day program online, which is a daily click into the content for the day, and I cover in there fairly fundamental things such as the benefits you'll have if you stop drinking, the benefits to your health, the benefits to your wallet, the time that you have now. You've got more time, better time available to be with family, etc. And the also within that program, there's worksheets that they're fairly simple, but they're designed to have a woman think seriously about how she wants to lead her life, how she's going to interact in a social situation without having a glass of alcohol in her hand, and that's a pretty big thing. So I start the 7-day program on a Thursday morning for them. So that leads into a lot of information about socializing for the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's online, 7 days. I have a 5-week program, which was the one I initially developed. So that's very comprehensive, and that's really, it's pretty much based on everything I learned in the beginning and what I continue to do for the first 2, 3, 4 years of staying sober. So not just the health benefits, but there's quite an extensive workshop on your value system, goal setting. Well, I'm just trying to think of the other things. So a comprehensive workbook really for women to work through the different stages. There's a lot in there as well about the socializing. There's quite a bit in there about how other people can help you if you want to be helped, because I think also the problem with telling people that you are started on a sober journey is, if you've been unsuccessful in that before, people are going to say, oh, well, you know, that's just another thing that you're doing.
Which is even more shameful then.
Exactly. Yeah. So I show people how they can have people help them, the ones who, and also the people who they chose to help them, what those people, there's a worksheet for those people to go through.
Okay.
Yeah. And my new program, which I say will be September, is a VIP coaching service for 12 weeks. So that will be a one-on-one weekly session. It'll be an hour each session, and through that we'll talk together about all the things that woman is feeling, how, in my experience, how to combat a lot of those situations, how to develop a new life, and I'll be there guiding the woman through all of that.
Yeah, that sounds really comprehensive. Definitely.
It will be comprehensive. Yes.
Yeah. I love the word sober. Sober curious. Never heard about that.
Well, have you not?
No.
Okay.
Maybe because I worked in a drug rehabilitation center in the Netherlands, so they might use it there as well. But no, I think it's a beautiful word. So it's actually, you know, for women from who are sober curious to actually having stopped and then finding a new life.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I think what is very important for our members to know is that you don't advocate people to stop by themselves. You really realize that there might be a rehab center involved, definitely at first, but this is for the period after, where people might be struggling on a daily basis, how to find a new purpose, how to lead their lives. And like you said, you've been there, you know all about it, and they don't have to feel shame.
Exactly.
Yeah. How would you like, because many of our members are GPs, how would you think introducing you would be helpful? If you think back, you know, to your previous self, what could your GP have said to you to help you back then?
Probably a couple of things. I think if I'd been more shocked into the health aspect of, because I found, and it was certainly true for me, I worried that my liver was going to be damaged. I didn't worry about my brain. I didn't worry about cancer. It was just the liver. And I thought, well, I can take liver supplements and I can, you know, have a detox and my liver will be okay, and then I can keep drinking. So I think if there was more access to really getting the message home about, I mean, I'm quite blown away by, in the last 12 months, the number of people I've talked to about stopping alcohol. Possibly 2 or 3 in 100 people would say, yes, I do know that alcohol has been declared as a class 1 carcinogenic by the World Health Organization back in 1994, I think it was. But so many people have absolutely no idea. And I think that's a wee bit of a hobby horse of mine, because I also hope that and plan that what I'm doing will become a movement for Australia and New Zealand, because I was born in New Zealand, lived in Australia for more than 40 years now. And we have cultural differences here that they don't really have in the Northern Hemisphere. I feel, yes.
So, such as? What do you...
Well, I think drinking in Australia and New Zealand, certainly when I was brought up in New Zealand, you would probably most likely be introduced to alcohol by your parents at an age of 15 or so. I think they probably thought, oh, it's much better for them to have a drink at home rather than letting you loose at parties and things. But I think that was what happened in my case, that I was introduced to spirits at age 15, very heavy, strong liquor, and that stayed with me forever after that time.
And you would like that to change?
I would like to change. I'm hopeful that governments in Australia and New Zealand will get better at regulating, informing, mainly informing. I've found in Canada, for instance, the government is so much, have so many resources and is so much information, and they've limited their standard drinks down to 2 standard drinks a week is what they recommend. So it's totally different from what we have in Australia and New Zealand and the UK.
Yeah. Okay, so movement.
A movement.
Yes, that sounds good. Okay, I think we are almost at our time, and I want to thank you for a really informative chat. And there might be members that would like to contact you, and we will put your website in the introduction. Is that the best way to contact you?
Yes, I'll give you my phone contacts. I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Okay.
Under Women Living Sober.
Yeah.
So you can find me there. There's a page on my website, Women Living Sober, for practitioners, where they can go, and I'm just building that up at the moment for more information. But I do have just a small brochure that is available for sending. I can send quantities of those out to practitioners who are interested, and there'll be a link on that page on the website for them to look at that.
Thank you so much. Okay, well, I will stop the recording now.